What up? What up? What up? Welcome to another MEC session. We are going to get started in just a little bit. I see people are starting to trickle in. Today is going to be another dope session. I know I say that every week, and hopefully you guys agree every week. But we are going to get started. We're still waiting for our guest. I think there are going to be a lot of gems dropped today. All of you guys, I know everybody wants their stuff to go viral. We're going to talk to a viral engineer, a man that's been behind the campaigns of a lot of social media campaigns that have gone viral. So that's what we're talking about today. So I'm sure he'll have some interesting insight. Appreciate people tapping in. Eighth Life, what's going on? No matter what platform you're watching this stream on, I'll be able to see it in the comments if you do make a comment. Shane, what's going on? A6 Jitty, what's going on? I think I said that right. Not sure. So welcome everybody from YouTube and Periscope and Twitch and Facebook. Like I said, we'll get started in just a second. I know that our guest is trying to tap in with us now. I do have an update. So today, I almost forgot. Today is our artist management monthly roundtable discussion. It used to be a weekly discussion. Now, every second Monday of the month, we have our artist management roundtable discussion. So if you're an artist or a manager, or a producer and want to join these conversations, it's a Zoom session. It's not on this platform. It's a Zoom session. I'm going to put the link in the comment section. So if you want to sign up, we'll be starting that at 1:30 p.m. So this will go till about 1. There'll be a 30-minute break, and then we'll hop on Zoom and have a discussion so that we can talk about, some of the issues that managers deal with, maybe some issues that artists deal with in regards to management. And we'll hopefully have a fruitful conversation, share some best practices, network with one another. So please tap in with that. I think I put the link in right. Let me make sure. Yep, that is the right link. So make sure you sign up. Again, we'll be live at 1:30 p.m. right after this session. So looks like we have Steve on here. Let me add him to the stream. Steve, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I'm actually I'm doing one-liners with Bella. She's it's her first time, so going through it.
Okay. Nice. Well, I appreciate you tapping in with us. I promise I'll be respectful of your time. We won't go over an hour. Where you're based in LA?
Yep, I'm in LA.
Okay, awesome. All right, before we jump into this, why don't we give people just a brief background on yourself and what you're doing currently, and then we'll jump into some of the specifics and around social media and getting things to go viral. I know everybody wants to know.
They all want to know the secret.
Yep, they all want the secret sauce.
Yeah. Sure. So I'll make it as brief as I can. So I come from a film background. I guess I still am a DP and editor for a long time, and I kind of started off with like music videos. I used to work with local Chicago rappers, like a lot of Southside Englewood area, who some of them became pretty big. It was like the trap movement before the trap, like when Chief Keef was coming up and he was getting like 60,000 views and everyone's like freaking out, like, look how big this is and whatever. I mean, obviously now it's ingrained in our culture, but that's kind of like where I started off at. And then I started moving into like doing documentaries and doing even like reality show stuff. And I stayed independent for the most part, but I felt like I reached a ceiling in Chicago. So I decided to move to Los Angeles so I can compete with the big fish. And one thing led to another. I started doing content marketing for a smart home company. And working with the marketing team, I started learning about, what marketing is. And simultaneously, I was working with YouTubers, Chudley's, Andrew Hale's Loft, if anyone's familiar. And my first 6 videos I did with Chudley's hit 1 million views within 24 hours. So I was doing pretty well with that. And then I started seeing the similarities between marketing and what I was doing on YouTube. So because essentially what all these YouTubers are doing, that's marketing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and maybe it's not classified as that, or maybe, whatever. And this guy Oliver Tree reached out to us, Churleys, because he wanted to collab, and I didn't know this at the time, but he was an artist and he signed to a major label, Atlantic, and he kept that under wraps for the first few videos we've done. And I learned later on that the reason he was doing this was so he could eventually, so he can build a following and then transition that following into music streams or into fans or whatever you want to call it. And then so it was really cool because he kind of poached me from Churdley's, put me on salary, but I got to go through the music industry the way that a first time major label signee goes through it. So, all the mistakes, all the whatever, like I learned the ins and outs of music essentially through Oliver. We lived together for 3 years. And when I say live together, we couch surfed together. We would stay at the management house because we were on tour like maybe, 6 to 10 months out of the year anyway. So we would be on tour together, and then we would go back, sleep on the couches in LA. And it was I called Oliver that era of my life when I was doing full time with Oliver. It was like a boot camp because we would literally work like 24 hours. We would be doing so much content all the time, and then it started transitioning into we would be doing like long form content, and and not everything was about music. It was more just let's just do the funniest thing, and then transition it into music later on. Um, and then, oh yeah, so I kind of, Oliver and I separated for a minute. I mean, when you're with someone together 24 hours, it's like kind of like a girlfriend boyfriend relationship where it's kind of get sick of each other. We're best friends, by the way. We hang out all the time. We still do some things. Like I helped get his TikTok off the ground, but I went to Nashville to pick up on the Mason Ramsey project, which was another a viral star. And while I was there, we were asked by Columbia to help Tyga out. And my partner and I at the time created what is now the Macarena Challenge. And it worked so well that they flew us out to LA to bring a bunch of big TikTokers at the time, like Maiko and the Lopez brothers, and I think Javier, just a bunch of TikTokers to meet Tyga. And Tyga didn't even know what the TikTok app was. So these kids like showed it to him. He was having a great time. We just spent hours in the studio just, filming stuff and whatever. And long story short, Tyga became one of the, when you think of successful musicians on TikTok, it's Jason Derulo and Tyga. It's those two. So he really transitioned TikTok into, I don't want to say resparking his career because it's not like his career was dead or anything, but I mean, it pushed his streams up by a lot, like a lot. And all him using the TikTok platform to push his singles it was very crucial to those singles being successful. And
What's the macro? So I was kind of late to the TikTok game. I personally don't use it myself. But maybe I missed the Macarena challenge. What was that? What was it?
Yeah. So are you familiar with the Harlem Shake?
Yes, the dance, the Harlem Shake.
Yes, exactly. Well, it was like a viral trend, like where all these like 30 people like went into the room. Like it starts off with one person and then it turns into several. And actually, funny enough, the first person to do that, the one who blew that challenge up, his name was Pink Guy at the time, and that was actually Joji, which is very ironic, that he's kind of moved into music himself and is a successful artist. But he kind of started the Harlem Shake. But anyway, that trend was from like 10 years ago. So when we were sitting around thinking of, what can we do with this song? I was like, well, all these new kids don't know what the Harlem Shake is. So we applied the Harlem Shake to a new trend and it stuck and it worked really well.
So you're wait, there's a Harlem Shake like from Harlem in New York. And then you have like that challenge that even
the challenge
the Miami Heat did, even LeBron did it.
Yes,
it was like,
yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but anyway, From that, it kind of transitioned to I'm now head of content for Bella Porch, and I don't know if you know, but she is an artist, and she did tease her new single, which comes out on the 14th of this month. And so it's pretty cool because being head of content for a TikToker, you don't do as much as you would with anyone else because the reason they're popular, or famous, or whatever is because of what they've done. So Bella, she's a genius in her own right, and she does, her own thing. But now that she is an artist, I'm kind of going through that same beginning steps as with Oliver, but it is on a higher level just because she is the third largest TikToker in the world. But like I said, like right now, it's fun. She's literally downstairs doing one-liners, and there's like 50 of them. Like, hey, it's Bella Porch. Listen to my new single now on Spotify. Swipe up, and she's just a lot of artists hate doing this because it's so repetitive and there's not much creative freedom. With Oliver, we were pretty creative with it, but most artists, Benny's very creative with it as well, Benny Blanco. But most artists, it's just like, hey, this is so and so. Swipe up to listen to my new song or whatever. We haven't even done radio DSPs yet. She's gonna love when she finds out she has to do that.
So when you're approaching, let's say, a challenge, like, you're trying to come up with some type of, concept that you think will go viral, like, what are you assessing or what are you thinking about? What are some of the things that you're going over as you're considering how to structure it?
Yeah, so I look for three things. Either the first one is what haven't I seen before? The second thing is what have I seen before that's worked? And the third thing is what will spark a conversation. It's essentially those three things is what I look for when I'm creating a challenge or an idea or a video. Just because, and I mean, it sounds simple enough, and it honestly is. There's when you're asking the secret to being viral, there is no secret to being viral. It's more what I've learned is intuition. Some people have it, and other people just do not. But with that said, I'm sure after years and years and years of trying it, you could gain that intuition for what will work and what won't work. And also, it's like I don't know what will work. A lot of the time, you're just throwing things at the wall. And I've been luckier than some, or more fortunate, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of my ideas do stick.
No. So if you would say, like, percentage wise, I know we probably don't have the same definition of what a successful campaign would be, but now that you have this experience as you approach these campaigns, okay, what percentage would you say are you happy with after you run the campaign? Most of them, all of them, smaller percentage?
Well, with TikTok especially, it's like the numbers are, I would say, even 80% of the time. Because for whatever reason, whether it's the algorithm, whether it's the AI or AR technology behind the algorithm, you're just able to hit more eyes and ears at the same time compared to like Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. And because of that, your chances for a successful campaign are much higher. Because if you know that the idea is strong, that's only half the battle. The other half is, are people going to see it? And if they do see it, are people going to share it? So with TikTok, I would say it's been like 80%, maybe. I mean, maybe higher. Not sure.
Do you use any type of money or advertising spend to get these campaigns off the ground typically, or is it pretty organic? I mean, it seems like most of the people that you work with now have a pretty big following. So,
So yeah, that's something I can't talk as much about, but yes, there's definitely money that goes into campaigns because getting someone to naturally do a trend, you have to get a lot of people to do it first. So even the mock rain, I guess I could talk about the mock rain challenge, but yeah, we did have a budget, And what I did was I tried hitting every avenue. So I would got like a dentist to do it. I got like a high school cheerleader to do it. I got you know, a bunch of people to do it. And then the other big part of it was challenging people. So you do it. That's why it's called a challenge. So you do it and you're like, I challenge this person. But we we did actually let the people know before they were challenged just to ensure that they would do the challenge. So that part wasn't as natural, but everything that came out of it, yes, it was natural.
Got you. Do you work, or because it even seemed like even with Oliver Tree, even though he wasn't a big artist at the time, he had the resources to hire you and to work with him. So because he was signed to a major label. What about
Yep.
art? Because most of the artists that listen to this podcast don't have a ton of resources, aren't signed to a label. As they approach TikTok, what are some of the suggestions that you have for them on the platform if they don't have a budget and don't have a huge platform already?
Okay. Well, for that, I would honestly the best thing you could do is just try as many different things. The more you try, the more you'll find something that sticks. What I've seen is a lot of people that I've worked with, they would, they they can go like 6 months. You're posting every day, you're doing this, that, and you're getting like 200 views, 300 views, 100 views, 50 views, whatever. But one of those times you will do something that will do very well. And with TikTok, what you have to do is you take what you've done that works really well for your specific account, and then you just do it again in another way, and do it again in another way. Sometimes you can do it again in the same way. TikTok is a very, very, very niche platform, which means that there's a lot of niches that do really well, like Doctor Talk, where they only post surgeries that they do. You know, the, can't think of any other example, but there's a lot of like niche accounts, and an artist account is no different. Guys like Tyga, they don't need to do a niche account. Someone when you're at that level, you can just post a video of you looking at the camera, and it'll work. But if you're a smaller artist, especially up and coming, you you should find a niche, because nobody's going to care about your music until they care about you. And even a guy right now who's I don't remember his name, but it's the Sugar Crush song. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
So Sugar Crash or Sugar Crush. It is. I mean, it's getting millions of streams per day, but the artist only has a few million followers. So that one, they don't care as much about the artist, but they care about the music. But a lot of times it works the other way around. With Oliver, in order for people to care about his music, we had to get them to care about him first. So we would do these niche things and for Oliver, the niche is his look. It's a guy who's wearing a bright colored jacket with a bowl cut. That's his niche. That we started trying that out, and that started working. It worked for him. What happened with him was he was on a indie label that he got shelved, so he wasn't able to release music. So what he started doing is he dressed up like this character, and he went on Vine. And his first video did really well because of how he looked. So he did it again and again. So he knew that that would work. But it's what I was saying, you try out different things until one sticks, and then you roll with it.
Right. Can you? Because I remember when you were telling the story before about your experience with Oliver, you were talking about literally making content sometimes for 24 hours. Can you talk about? Because I don't think a lot of young people don't understand like how much work it requires most of the time. Not really prepared for that kind of grind. Can you talk about that a bit?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it takes this much. I got shingles at like age 25. I don't know if you know what what shingles is, but every doctor I'd visit they were just shocked. They're like, "What? This is like what 60-year-old men get?" And it wasn't so much that I was unhealthy, but more so I was working all the time. We To this day, we have 8 long form documentaries that have yet to come out. That will come out sooner or later. We have thousands and thousands of videos, literally thousands of videos, because you're just constantly all day doing something. And like his a popular one that we did was his bathtub hot Cheeto video. That, you know, it's like, oh, you're laying in hot Cheeto. People don't understand how much work went into just that one video. It was hours and hours and hours because we were A/B testing different things. You know, like how can we make more Cheetos? And then we didn't have enough Cheetos, so we have to go to the store and get more. And it takes a lot of work. It really does. It looks easy or simple because you're only seeing the final product of what
Mm-hmm.
is decided to have been released. But that whole, it's like you got to think of it as an iceberg. It's like you're seeing the little tip, but really it's huge,
Right.
the amount of content. Yeah.
So so you're currently the creative director for Benny Blanco.
First
Is
TikTok,
that
yes.
for his just for his TikTok? So I was unfamiliar with who he is, and I just kind of looked at his TikTok and I started going through them.
Yes, TikTok.
And I noticed he had a particular object in most of his videos. Can, can we talk? So he has dildos in most of his videos. So he's a producer. He's a producer.
Yeah, he has 44 number one hits.
Wow.
He's the youngest person to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He
Wow.
is, I mean, if you haven't heard Benny Blanco, you've heard his music. Like he was responsible for people like Katy Perry and like did like Diamonds by Rihanna and like big tracks. And he's now come out as an artist. I think it was just 2 years ago only. And I mean, look how many monthly listeners he has just from, you know, 2 years because he he's 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 very good. But I mean, even if you look at Justin Bieber's new album, you'll see Justin featuring Kid Laroi, Justin featuring whatever. Benny's the only one on there that says Justin Bieber and Benny Blanco.
So yeah, I guess people in the comments are lighting me up because I wasn't familiar. I apologize. But I wanted to talk about like his TikTok strategy because I think a lot of times producers miss the opportunity to like be a brand and be present and to be visible and to, you know, have a personality and connect with the audience. And it seems like he does a very good job at that. So can you talk about just the strategy and the approach on TikTok?
Yeah, well, with Benny, it was the same thing as all. Like we have every time we would meet up, we would make 40 videos, but those videos wouldn't come out because we were still A/B testing what works and what doesn't work. And I mean, with him, it was dildos that worked. And the interesting thing about dildos is some videos get taken down, most of them don't. And I'm pretty close with TikTok. I have talked to them about it. They're not sure why, because the Chinese division of TikTok is what owns the algorithm, and they don't really share as much information with the American division as you would think. So one of my theories is that dildos are education. It's why some like surgery videos are able to stay up, even though it's like blood and gore. It's like it's disgusting, but it's to kind of promote education, and I believe that's why dildos work. And it's just the shock factor. People when they see a dildo, they're like, "What?" They're like, "Wow, how is this on here?" Or you know, whatever. And guess what? You will always see though. His song is always attached to the video, and maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not, but his streams are going up. And he is getting more traffic. And he's saying that like now he gets recognized in the street as like, oh look, it's the dildo guy or whatever. Which is, I mean, it's great for an artist because you're getting recognition.
It does the dildo play into his story at all? Like, is he
No,
like, or is it's just super random? So it's just a shock.
it was one of those things that we were A/B testing that just stuck and it worked. The other thing is like talking about the songs he's made because a lot of people like you, for example, don't know that he's made all these number one songs. And his songs are always trending on TikTok. His songs from like 10 years ago, like Mike Posner was a recent one. Circus by Britney Spears was another recent one. And every time he sees a song that trends, all he does is he films the video and he just puts, nobody knows, but I was the guy who made the song or whatever. So those are the two things that work the best is dildos and talking about his already successful songs.
And I think his image also stands out as well. He's kind of got like a little afro and a unibrow. I'm assuming all this stuff is purposeful because you remember him. Now I will not forget what he looked like if as soon as I saw his video.
Yeah, Benny's a guy who the success and money has not changed him, and that the Benny that you see now, that's what he looked like 20 years ago or whatever. Like Benny's just himself, and he does keep true to himself. He doesn't, because yeah, he could get a cool haircut and like shave his unibrow and like whatever, but he doesn't, because that wouldn't be who he is. So he keeps the integrity of his artistry, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's why. I mean, obviously, Will Smith is one of probably the biggest actor. But when Will Smith dropped that photo recently of like his dad bod, and it was just kind of authentic and just kind of
Yep.
he got a lot of love for that. So I think that it's pretty important for most artists to be authentic, to connect with people, and reveal some of your insecurities.
Right. I agree with that 100%.
Cool. So I know that people are going to have questions for you, and I normally wait until the end to open it up for questions, but I want you guys to get your questions in, as many as we can in the next 15 minutes or so. So whether you're tuning in on Facebook or YouTube or Periscope, or Twitch, feel free to post your questions in the comments. Since you came from Chicago, I have one more question, and I have more if they don't ask questions, but since you came from
Chicago, these comments now.
For people that live in another city and think they want to come to LA to do their thing, what are some advice for those folks?
So collaborating is extremely important. If you're, moving to a new city, reach out to as many people as you can, because you never know who will respond. I have this great kid I recently hired. He told me a great story that he just cold messages people that he loves, and this one guy recently responded, and since then they've met up and done a collab video. So that's the most important, because without that, like what you have to know someone in the city. You just have to. It's really difficult to do it alone. I'll tell you what I did. So what I did was, when I first moved to LA, I made a Craigslist post pretending that I was hiring a videographer. So what I did was I looked through hundreds and hundreds of demo reels, and I looked at, okay, which one do I like? What parts of this do I like? I was kind of like scoping out my competition. And what I did was I created a demo reel that blew everyone's out of the way, to the point where every time I would apply for a job on Craigslist, I would almost always, I knew that they would respond, because my demo reel is just incredible. And I never added stuff that I did with teams. I only added things that I did myself. But that's just me. What I know now is a popular thing is, if you were just one person out of like 100 working on a video, you are able to use that on your demo reel. So I definitely recommend doing that. But Craigslist is a powerful tool. I haven't used it in years and years, so I don't know how effective it still is, but a lot of people would knock me for like using Craigslist, but I got some great jobs. Craigslist is what led me to working with Stone Temple Pilots, and I did work with Chester before he passed, and it was a super cool opportunity. I was working out of Dave Grohl's studio, which is essentially a Nirvana museum, and I love Nirvana. So a quick fact, I don't know if maybe I can't say this, but Dave uses MTV Music Awards as toilet paper holders in the bathroom, because Kurt hated like MTV and the system and stuff. And it's just like those little things like that, like that inspired me. It really did. And I would not have been able to do that without Craigslist.
So you use Craigslist just to kind of scope the competition. You made a fake post so that people would send in their demo reel, so you could see who you're competing against, to ensure your demo was going to be way better than everybody's that sent.
Exactly. And I
That
mean, Craigslist was great for me because like when I would get a job there, there's several job postings. I would do a job, but that would always lead me to another job, because like you're talking to people there, or maybe you do so well that they want to hire you again, even without you having to use. So it's great in the beginning. I don't think you spend the rest of your life. I mean, unless that's what you want to do, but
right.
it was a great tool. And this was years ago. So now I'm sure there's like specific apps, like I think Mixer's one of them. So there's probably like, you know, more specific apps that people use to get film jobs. I wouldn't know about that, but yeah.
Did you do anything to connect with people prior to getting here, or did you just get here and start trying to figure it out?
Well, ironically, I did. I got an internship with, it was like my favorite I think they're called something robot, dog robot, bad robot, I believe. And but the irony is, I lined up, I messed up because I didn't realize how LA worked. I lined up all these like internships and interviews a month before I came here. So when I came here and, hey guys, I'm here now, nothing. So LA works so quick that it's like you have to like apply the day before and then like go in whatever, and things are always changing and whatever. So I screwed up because in Chicago it's like the exact opposite. It's like people are for the most part timely and things are set up in advance. But LA is just such a quick moving city that I screwed up by lining things up before I came here.
All right, so we got a bunch of questions in here. Is there a universally accepted number of views or streams that when passed, something can officially be considered viral? What do you consider viral?
So viral is it's a million. And a million is considered is viral if you get a million plays. But the thing with TikTok is it's a million views is no longer what a million views used to be. And part of the reason is the TikTok views are not unique. So you can watch something multiple times and it'll give you extra view. But traditionally speaking, that is what is viral. It's a million, and that's what I consider viral. And now there's two definitions to viral, because you have that's what I see as viral. But then the other thing is like Mason Ramsey, the Walmart yodeling kid, like that is viral, and that's a very very rare occurrence. So when you're talking to like actual viral, there's not as many, but to me, I see a million plays as viral.
Got you. All right. So Shane asks, an artist I'm working with has 175,000 plus on TikTok, and we're working to transition his TikTok audiences to listeners. What approaches should we test out to successfully convert them?
So that is the most difficult thing you can do. And that is something that I more or less leave for the team or label or management to kind of figure out, because it's difficult. And I wish I had a I wish I had a better answer for that. But there's really not there's really nothing I can give on that one. That's tough.
Is
It really
is
is.
is the call to action like? Do you think a call to action is better to have like in the video, or just like a link in on your TikTok profile where people find it that way? Or
A link to your profile is better, unless the video that you post to TikTok is specific to that song. Or like one thing that works for a lot of indie artists or smaller artists is a narrative call to action story. So I've been working for years and years on this song. I released a song and it got blocked by this label, or it got blocked by this, or whatever happened. I need your guys' help to, get that song popping, or get it off this, or get it off that. Or so if you're gonna put a call to action in the video, it needs to be specific to the video that you're posting for sure. Otherwise, it's going to look like an ad, and when something looks like an ad, people tune out.
got you. I heard that does TikTok like if you write like go to my YouTube to watch the rest of this video or something like that, does TikTok identify that and like lower the reach of your video? Could they Does it
It's
scan the
funny.
video?
I do think so. There's no proof to it or there's no whatever, but yes, I really think that their AI and AR software is so intelligent that they are able to do that. I think when TikTok, it can't, because it distinguishes like backgrounds from faces, from it even distinguishes different lighting. And a little trick that I've learned is if you do a video with the same lighting at the same time of day with the same camera angle and it does well, if you do it again, the algorithm will says, hey, this video worked, let's show it to more people. But yeah, I do believe that saying text like that, it will down your reach. Now, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. You should still always be trying whatever and doing whatever, but that is my opinion on that.
And I understand that you don't work for TikTok, but this is actually a selfish question because I manage comedians.
Nice.
They're not too tapped into to TikTok. One of them has like they don't really care for social media at all that much. But we noticed that a lot of our videos get muted. Do you know
Oh,
like where to find the answer around like why videos get muted? Because there's definitely videos on TikTok that have a lot crazier language than the videos we try to post.
and you guys use ingested sounds
You say adjusted sounds?
like sounds like through TikTok, right? Or do you upload a
Uh,
video that already has a sound?
yeah, it's just their own videos.
A lot of times I don't know if so usually this happens when is a song is not whitelisted to that page and you don't use the ingested sound. But I mean, I would have to see specific examples because that doesn't happen just out of nowhere randomly or whatever. It's always because some sound that's in there is copywritten or it's on some other label that. So some labels are more open to you using sounds than others. Like Interscope is a tougher one that I've had artists on Interscope that they post something and their own video gets muted or taken down, and we're like, well, like why? What's going on? And it's because I guess that specific sound was just not whitelisted for them to use.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, let's see. We have another one. This is about TikTok campaigns. When your folks do paid ads or paid promo on TikTok, do they get paid in advance? Do you know how that works?
Like me personally, or
Or the artist? I'm assuming that you've done some paid promos with brands, with the artists that you work with.
yeah. So for the business side, actually, my manager takes care of all that stuff. Sometimes I don't even know how much I get paid until it hits my account, whatever.
No.
But always get paid in advance because I personally don't take equity. So if they're doing something and it, so I don't work based on any number of sales that a campaign reaches or any number of streams that it reaches. It's just you just hire me and I do my thing and it either works or it doesn't work. That's for me personally. Some people work on a equity based level where maybe they won't take money in advance, but they'll take a percentage of whatever the sales are.
Right. Cool. So what type of work, what ultimately do you want to do? Or like what's your like longer term vision for yourself?
What you really want to know, I'm trying to make a city. It's obviously like years in advance or whatever, but I want to make the first influencer or content based city
Nice.
where I'll get a handful of influencers to have their like fans like come out, whatever. I'm gonna have cameras set up all over the city that'll be streamed 24 hours a day, and kind of make like a content utopia, if that makes sense. And I don't know if I should give away the name just yet, but the name is pretty
You're good.
good too. And I mean, I'm gonna need got to raise like hundreds of millions of dollars and work with like Walmart or like different companies to kind of, create the initial infrastructure, if they get to like have lower rent, or I mean, and there's obviously this is a dream that I have, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how realistic it sounds, and it sounds crazy, but I'll tell you this much: a lot of the stuff that I used to talk about was crazy. I used to talk about the algorithm like 10 years ago, and people thought I was nuts. They're like, "There's no algorithm that does," and now it's like algorithm is a normal thing. Everyone talks about it because it started off as more of a conspiracy theory. So yeah, hopefully that happens.
So you want to create like your own Truman Show? Have you seen the
Pretty
Truman
much.
Show? Got
Yep,
you.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Same. Love it, man.
Dope. Cool. So the work that you're working on now, like is it just if you have a certain budget, you can work with me? Do you looking for like passion stuff that you really believe in? Like, do people watching have potential to work with you? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I'm kind of I pass on way more projects than I take on, of course. I mean, I if you're a newer artist, it's the chances of me working are pretty slim, but there is good news. I formed my company this year, and I am hiring people on and training them to kind of do what I do and whatnot, because I want to be able to hire or to work with everyone. Like right now I just don't have the time, unfortunately. And the last person I worked with was Miley, and I actually got her most liked video on TikTok. The Hannah Montana one was that one was me. I really wanted to be at SNL, but they wouldn't clear it. I was trying to get Elon to do his first ever TikTok, but that didn't really pan out. But yeah, it's kind of like, if you're working with me directly, like, yes, I don't like, I like to set up for success. So if you're working, so like right now, because I've had so many successes with smaller artists, bigger artists, this and that, it's like moving forward, like Floyd Mayweather, like he picks his fights very carefully, because once you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, I have to keep succeeding. So so that's where I'm at. But I am working with a newer he's not a newer artist, but he doesn't really have a social media uh platform or big social media platform, but he's like with Hollywood Records, and I'm really excited about the band name's Dreamers. I'm very excited about this project because this is a challenge I want to take on. A lot of artists, you'd be surprised, are not open to doing whatever I say or whatever I want, because a lot of the stuff that I'm good at, that I do, is not because of it. It doesn't have to do with music. So for this dude, like, I have him like showering in what's it called? A car wash. That doesn't really have to do with music. So a lot of artists will pass on that idea or pass on this or that. But the reason I took this artist on is he is down to do anything. And this is going to be a great challenge or experiment for me to see, like, well, can we make another Oliver Tree? Can we do whatever we got to do to get views to start transitioning them into a big social media platform?
Well, number one, I'm not surprised at all. I used to run an independent label and manage music artists. And it's the reason why I don't manage any music artists anymore. The comedians are much easier to deal with. So I'm not surprised at all anyway. Cool, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. I know that the people watching learned a lot in this short session. Where can people find you if they want to, follow you on social media or maybe connect with your company at some point?
Yeah, so it's just my social media is just Zilber Steve, all across the board. It's spelled ZIL, B as in boy, ERSTEVE, Zilber Steve, and I'm on most active on Instagram. But even because I work in social media, it's really hard to focus on my own or to do my own. But if you can message me on there, or you can, like, stevezilberman.com, I have an email on there if you want to reach out. And just because, like, right here I'm saying, oh, I'm busy or this or that, like, definitely reach out. It's worth a shot. What I was saying, cold calling works. So cold call my email or cold call my direct message, and maybe I'll get back to you. Probably, hopefully.
Cool. Cool. Well, again, thank you for joining, man. Really appreciate it. If you didn't get the announcement when I started this session, we're doing an artist management roundtable session today at 1:30. The link is in the MEC IG bio. Sign up. It's a Zoom session. It's not on here. It's on Zoom. Tap in with us in about 45 minutes. So, Steve, on a monthly basis, I just meet with managers because I feel like, there's not that much support for up and coming managers. A lot of managers just kind of jump into
Right.
it, or they're friends of an artist and they're just kind of figuring it out.
Yep.
So just trying to provide a little bit of support and sharing best practices, on a monthly basis. That's what that is.
That's cool, man. I love that.
Cool. All right. Well, man, if you ever need anything from us, if you never need us to support anything, you definitely have our support. But thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime you want me on or you whatever, I would love to do it. That's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Is just there's not much information or knowledge on what I do because it's such a newer thing. And anytime, just reach out, and most likely I will make time. I will be there.
I'm gonna take you up on that because I'd like to dive into
Sweet.
a little bit more details into some of the campaigns so we can explore, some of the decisions that you're making and why you made them.
Right.
Dope. Cool. All right, y'all. If you're not tapping into the session later on today, I will see y'all next week. Have a good one. Peace.
Bye, everyone.